Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Sell with Confidence, even when you don't like the sales part. Absolutely know that when you're not feeling confident in a sale, the other person who you're talking with picks up on it. And sometimes we energetically kill our own sale without even realizing what we're doing, simply because we're not present, we're not focused, we don't own our value. We're going to start to fix that today. Before we go into that, I want to acknowledge our sponsor, Shelly Harrison with Luminary Leaders. Shelly, go ahead and take a moment, please, to introduce yourself, and just really thrilled to have you as a partner in our workshop for today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Loren. I really appreciate it. As Loren has mentioned, we are thrilled to sponsor this event. And I know that you are all in for a very big treat, so we appreciate all of you being here. My company is a speaker management and consulting company, and we specialize in representing professional speakers, authors, thought leaders, and presenters. And then we also help to facilitate workshops. We also work with our veterans. So we have military speakers and authors that we represent. And I also have my own podcast show. And I would encourage you to watch Loren's episode. Her episode is on Spotify with me under Speaker Central. It is filled with content and different content than what she's going to be sharing today. So welcome, everyone. And thanks again, Steve and Loren, for having me. Happy to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelly. Shelly, if you want to go ahead and put your contact information in the chat, that would be wonderful for anybody that is looking to speak but don't want to do the negotiation for getting paid or for their own bookings. You are a wonderful resource for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Loren. I appreciate that, as you are too, and I'm excited to see this.
And Shelly, Lillian is asking, what's the name of the podcast? If you could put it in the chat.
I sure will. And it's called Speaker Central, but I'll definitely I'm putting it in right now.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Steve, you want to go ahead and quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. I'd love to. First of all, I'm really excited to be here. My name is Loren Fogelman, and I am the other part of Loren Fogelman. Many people say, are you Loren's husband? But I used to have an identity at one point. I'm a therapist turned business coach. I've been in the therapy and mental health field since 1976. And I'm just really thrilled to be here. I'm going to be working the chat and just helping Loren out any way that I can. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Steve. What I have discovered is that, first of all, that's us with our son. A couple years ago, my parents, our kids, people flew in from around the world for his graduation from college. He ended up going into business. I told him, if there is any class on sales, you have to promise me that you're going to go ahead and take it, because if you can sell, then you can do anything. He went into as a marketing major. They have an entire department on marketing. They did not have one class on sales. However, my research has shown that 75% of business majors end up in a sales position, but they're not teaching you how to do that. And that was true. And he's in a sales position. So there you go. He is part of the statistics. Fortunately, he can run questions by me, and I help him with that. But that was true for me also, and it's probably true for most of us, is that we love what we do. We make such a big difference for our clients. However, when we go through our training, no matter what level of education it is, you are trained at that skill set that you do. However, you're trained to work for somebody else as an employee, as opposed to being an entrepreneur, a business owner, or an employer. That was true for me. What happened because of that is I have been investing thousands of hours, dollars, effort to be able to figure out 3 things in order to be a really successful business owner. I've had to figure out how to network, especially because I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert, and it's a little bit different. How to do sales conversations when I don't like the sales part, didn't want to be salesy. Then the third part is how to price my services to separate my fees from time. Those are the things that I've been investing lots and lots of time, money, and effort into, because they make a difference as to how successful I am with my business. In fact, the more that I've figured out the sales and pricing piece, the more profitable that my business has been. And then networking is in a category by itself. It's been significant as well. And we're going to dive into the sales part to be able to give you more confidence, to be able to show up and be able to enroll client without feeling salesy. A little bit more about me is the last couple of years, from 2018 to 2020, I've been recognized as one of the leading business coaches globally by HubSpot. That is a wonderful, unexpected offer list that I found myself on. I didn't even know I was on the list. I started getting emails from people, and then I did some research. And then I do a lot of speaking. Well, as you know, in-person speaking is now not happening. Here I was on the stage at Speak to Sell with an audience of 500 plus. What I've had to do is put more effort into the virtual part. What I'm teaching you today works whether you sell in person, have enrolling conversations, or you do it virtually or by phone. It works in all three modalities because I've used it in all different modalities. It is something that can be adapted to whichever way you're meeting with someone and having a conversation. One of the things I want to recognize about you is you are really on the path to being even more successful than what you are, because you're taking time away from working in your business, doing the day-to-day tactical steps. You're working on your business, getting some insights, some skills to be able to advance your business forward. And this was me a couple years ago, teaching the same exact workshop in person with a group of maybe about 12 or 15 local business owners there. Therefore, what I'm doing, like I said, works in person as well as virtually. We're going to start to dial it in today. And Steve, I'm going to go ahead and get the poll up that I have. I want to talk a little bit about sales style. Let me go ahead, and everybody ought to be able to see the poll. If you can just really let me know which part of the sales process, if any, you like most, whether it's relationship, closing the sale, or every single part of it is painful. And let's just take a couple more seconds to have everybody just opt in and tabulate.
So a lot of people like the relationship building, and a lot of people feel it's painful.
I'm going to go ahead and close it. And as you can see, as Steve was mentioning, people like the relationship building if they like it at all, or else they hate the whole thing. And that is true for my clients also. Just had a coaching call with my clients, a group coaching call a couple hours earlier today, where we were talking about this very thing. And some of them hate the whole thing. They want to get off of the phone as quickly as possible. And we were starting to rework it so that it wasn't a difficult conversation and came from a place of service as opposed to an ask. Basically, if you look at this picture, most people, there's two different parts to the sales process. There's the nurturing part, the relationship building. We're going to start to work on some of those questions today. And then there is the close, which is great for the hunters. The hunters love the close. They love to see the numbers add up in their bank account. And as soon as they close a sale, they're on to the next person because they get bored with the relationship part of it and really continuing to have the hand holding. Most of the entrepreneurs that I know, if they like it at all, they like the relationship part of asking questions, finding out more about what's going on and how they can be of service. In order to be effective, you need a little bit of both parts. And just wanted to give a insight that there's two parts to it. The more you're comfortable with both parts, doing it in a genuine and authentic way, the better results you're going to have. What I have seen is when I'm working with clients, when I'm sharing information like I am today, we can turn your business into your personal ATM machine, which is different than what most entrepreneurs and business owners experience. They go into the business with these ideals of what their business can do for them, and then they find that they're working so many hours, they're sacrificing, they're making mistakes that are frustrating, that they don't know how to fix themselves. The sales part is part of that. What happens is when we go ahead and shift the conversations you're having from a pitch, and nobody wants to be pitched, and most people, aside from those hunters, enjoy doing the pitch. What we focus on is having what I call a value conversation. This is emphasizing that when you talk to ideal clients, quality and service is more important than the fees that they're paying. People highly value a quality experience, service delivery, and those two things are more important than the cost. An example is, let's go with cars real quickly. If you want to drive every day from your home to your office, you can get a couple of different ways to go. You can go with a low-cost vehicle, which would be like, I don't know, let's
a Hyundai.
Some of them. Let's go with the Geo Metro. I don't even know if they make it anymore. But
Not anymore.
Okay, there you go. Is that low cost? You can go with a Geo Metro, or you can go with a Volvo, or you can go with a Tesla. Now, they all are going to drive you from your home to the office, but some people are price sensitive and they're getting the Geo Metro. They want the most efficient, least expensive way to be able to get back and forth. Some people get a Vespa Honda also. And then others are looking for quality and service, the experience of going there. For the ones that are getting the Volvo, they are looking for safety. That is what they highly value. And dependability. The ones that are getting the Tesla want a little bit of status. They're also looking for a very comfortable ride. And the economy for them might be important, might not. But the Tesla might be more about status and ego and the luxury that comes with it than it is about environment. And think about that as we start to move through this today, is we want to bring out quality and service instead of focusing on fees. What we're going to cover today is why free sessions fail, which I'll go into in just a moment. 3 critical questions to be asking, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with 5 steps to handle objections.
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely going to give you as much as I can in the short period we have together. This is going to be a workshop where we're going to be rolling up our sleeves, getting stuff done also. If you feel that this is a great start and you want more, because you know that the more comfortable you are with having these consultations, the more money you're going to make, because you'll be able to enroll more people into working with you without feeling salesy. I'll show you how to take advantage of that also. Okay, we're going to go right into why free sessions fail. I love this picture because I don't know whether he's like shooting himself in the head or whether he's asking to pick her brain. But basically, if you are a business owner, at some point, you probably have had someone say, hey, can we get together? I'd like to pick your brain. Now, they might have said, right, but they might have said exactly those words,
Mm-hmm.
or they might have said something different. Now, if they're generous, they'll actually buy you coffee, and sometimes they'll buy you lunch. However, some of them want to pick your brain and they want you to pay for your own coffee. And think about when that happens, someone asks you where they want free information, how do you respond? I want to show you 4 things which influence your response. The very first thing is beliefs. What you believe when someone asks you for something is going to influence your response. A lot of times when they're asking you for something, it might have to do with then your self-worth, or it might have to do with the boundaries that you have set up. But either way, whatever your beliefs are going to influence the response as to whether you let someone pick your brain or not, or how you let someone pick your brain, or maybe you meet with them and you're able to change the conversation around. Therefore, just know that your beliefs influence your actions. The next thing is emotions. Whatever you respond, and this is true when someone's in a sales conversation with you or you're looking to work with someone, recognize that whatever you do, emotions influence your actions. Therefore, you do things either to relieve discomfort or to experience some type of pleasure. When someone's asking to pick your brain, are you doing it because you want to just reduce the tension, because you don't like saying no? Or is it that you just love mentoring people and you give it away for free all the time because money's not a factor? The third thing is expectations. All I need to say is be aware of your shoulds, because whatever your shoulds are probably an expectation that somebody else gave to you and you've taken on that legacy. What would happen if you no longer had that should? The last one is communication. Now, do you say what you mean? Or do you sometimes say something you don't mean and then you regret what you say yes later on? A lot of people in the service industry, entrepreneurs, business owners, we are service-based professionals. We're here to serve others. Because of that, you might be a people pleaser. And as a result, you might not like what you call conflict. Because of that, there might be times that you say yes when you really mean no, or you don't know how to use the no word. And that's something to just think about also, because if you say yes when you mean no, later on, you might get resentful, or you might not really show up and do the best job possible. Then you feel the guilt and shame of letting down somebody else. These are some of the factors which influence your response. Now, I believe that giving away free sessions is not of service to you, and it's not of service to who's asking to pick your brain. The main thing to look at is your highest value with someone who's interested in working with you is your knowledge. It's what you know, it's not what you do. I want to repeat that once again. Your highest value is what you know, your insights, your years of experience, your process that you've developed, your wisdom, knowing shortcuts or things to avoid. Those are things that are your highest value. If you give away your information, which is your highest value, it lowers your value. People think that anytime they have a quick question, they can just reach out to you, and once again, you'll be there for them to pick your brain. The other thing is that even if you met with somebody for coffee for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and I hope it doesn't go that long, then they are leaving feeling that they know everything they need to do. It gives them a sense of false confidence or false closure that they can go on and do it themselves and get the results that they're expecting. Mm-hmm. The other thing is talking with a person one time isn't a magic pill. Think about the amount of time, effort, money that you've invested to be able to really get to this level of expertise that you have. Meeting with someone for an hour or so isn't going to really give them everything that they need to know to be able to get the best results possible. And the bottom line is your time matters. If you're meeting with a lot of people, giving away a lot of free information, then it's keeping you from doing things that might strategically build your business. Now, I want to say for me, I give away things from free to fee. However, I choose how I want to give away free information. I do it in resources, whether it's on my blog, whether it is in my Facebook group of Business Success Solutions for Accounting Professionals. I do a lot there as far as Facebook Lives with Steve. I do webinars periodically. That's how I'm giving a lot. And sometimes it might be where I'm speaking, where I've been paid to speak, but you don't have to pay to attend. It just depends. I give a lot of free information, but I do it on my terms, not on somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my clients. I don't know if Devin is here or not.
I didn't see her.
Okay, great. Actually, she is here. Devin, are you okay unmuting yourself for a moment?
Oh, there she is.
She didn't know I was going to put her on the spot. Anyway, if you unmute yourself, Devin, feel free to join in. If not, you can put in the chat. You can just stay quiet, whatever works best. But when we first started working together, in fact, this came up in our group coaching call earlier this morning, was that she was doing her consults for free. And think about that. She was actually doing free consults, and she was doing a review. She was giving information at that time during the consult. What we've done is been able to rework how she does her consults and what step-by-step, what things she's enrolling them into next. And she's doing it a way of coming from service. She's now getting paid for things that she used to give away for free. And as she has here, her rates have really increased almost fivefold because she was able to connect with her value of her expertise, her knowledge, and understanding how that has value for her potential clients, where they're able to get the information they need, they can get it quickly, they have access to her knowledge, and it lets them focus on their work and what they do. So I just want to say, when you connect with your value and you start to set up this process of having value conversations instead of sales conversations, it changes everything in your business, including the amount of dollars in your bank accounts. I'm going to move forward into 3 critical questions to ask. And Steve, is there anything coming up in the chat that anybody has any questions about regarding the free sessions?
Not yet. I just posted it in the chat.
Okay, well, let me know if that does come up.
Mm-hmm. I will.
Okay, now what I'm teaching today comes out of my 5-course blueprint, my 5-module blueprint, Conversations That Sell blueprint, which I'll talk more about later on. But basically, this is the second module out of 5 modules. The very first one is positioning your service as the ideal solution, not because you only want people to see that you can solve their problems. That's exactly what you want that to do. But the other thing is that how much time do you spend talking with people that can't afford your service, or they were never really interested in hiring you anyway, they just wanted to pick your brain, or they weren't quite ready to buy yet. They were still gaining information as to whether this was a problem, or they were doing research as to how to even approach fixing their problem. So positioning your service saves you time because you talk with qualified people who are really ready to get into the action stage and are open to investing money into that solution. The other ones who aren't ready to make that investment, or they're not an ideal client, your process for qualifying people has them select out so that you're actually talking to more qualified prospects. The thing that we're going to dig into today is powerful questions that diagnose. When you do this, it just changes everything. You no longer have to pitch. You don't have to tell people why you're the best one or why they ought to be working with you. It takes the sales part out of this conversation. It's more about information gathering that positions you actually as an advisor, a trusted advisor, than as someone who's trying to enroll them because you just want a new client and you'll make money off of that. The third part of this blueprint is proposing your solution, which is the close. I'm not going to go into that today, but if you want to be able to enroll clients, feel comfortable having that conversation, then it's about knowing how to propose the solutions with integrity in a way that is genuine and authentic for you. One of the things about what we're doing today with the powerful questions is when you ask the right questions, they are naturally going to ask you, how does this work? It's a beautiful thing. There's no selling at all. When they ask you how this works, then you get to make a decision. You get to decide whether this is someone who you want to tell them what it's like to work together or not, because sometimes you might find that when you're meeting with someone during this consultation that they're really not an ideal client, or you're getting a hit. Steve, I would love for you to ask that question. How often do you meet with someone where you get a hit that maybe something's off, or that they're not an ideal client, but you don't pay attention to that, and then you sign them up and you regret it?
Okay.
With the way that this works is when they ask you how it works, if it's not an ideal client, you don't have to make an offer. All you need to do is bless them and send them on their way. If they feel like they're someone who's a good fit for you, then you talk about what it would be like to work together and give them the options. So after that, it's about the perfect start, which is enrolling them. In that part of the Conversations That Sell course, I teach how to have the money conversation part of it, how to be able to talk about the investment as opposed to the cost, because your work is an investment, and how to be able to talk about payment. Because I know a lot of service-based entrepreneurs, this is the most uncomfortable part of the conversation with them. They either never talk about it, or they feel very, very uncomfortable talking about the money part. And the person that they're meeting with that's interested in working with them picks up on that lack of confidence, and they might choose not to sign on with you at that point. Or else now you have them chasing you because you didn't enroll them, and now they have to chase you. So while they're chasing you, they might actually move on to somebody else. So then you'd ended up doing all the work of having them connect with why they needed help and why they are interested in signing on with someone. But because you never asked, they're going on to the next person who chooses to ask and gets them enrolled.
So Loren, Lane says, you regret it every month, LOL. I said, how often do you ignore your gut intuition? And she says, you regret it every month, LOL. And Leah says, I'd say a light bulb went on for me because I've done several free events recently.
Okay, excellent. I am so glad I'm already giving you value. That is what I wanted to do, is make sure that, I mean, you're working on your business right now, getting insights. The insights you walk away with today are going to make a difference in how you approach things. You take a stand for yourself. You carve out a business that works for you instead of you trying to adopt and be a chameleon and really make it where you're adapting to everybody else, but then it doesn't work for you and then it becomes a grind. So we want to fix that. Anyway, the last part of it is a post-consult, because when people make a decision to work with you, afterwards in their minds, they might have some doubts or reservations as to whether they made the right decision. That is a natural thing that happens in our brains based upon my study of neuroscience. I will show you how to fix that. So that's the Conversations That Sell blueprint. I'll go into it a little bit more later on if this interests you, but it makes a big difference in how you show up and have people see you as a trusted advisor right from the start. This is what you want to aim for. when you're having a value conversation with someone interested in working with you, where you don't want to be price competitive, you want to focus on the value that you offer, not being the cheapest person around, then what needs to happen, and this goes back to the equation I showed earlier with the personal ATM machine, is the client needs to realize that what they have to gain from working with you is greater than the fees that they are paying you.
Can you say that again?
I would love to say that again. I thought it's just because you like looking at that picture.
I do, but that's besides the point.
What needs to happen when you stop competing on price and you start pricing your services of value is the person you're talking with, that potential client, needs to realize that what they have to gain from working with you is greater than what they're paying you for that service.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's about looking at the fact that the service, so the service delivery, the experience, and the quality of the service, the fact that you know what you're doing, has more value than the price that you are charging for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, when it's an ideal client, they're going to look at the experience and the fact that you're an expert more than the price. They're not price sensitive at that point. And the questions we're going to carve out today, give me a couple minutes for getting there, but the questions we're going to carve out will start to bring out the value of what you have to offer. Basically, this is the 70-30 rule. What I believe is when you are having a consultation with someone, you want them to be talking 70% of the time and you talk 30%. That's probably flipped from what most people are doing. Most people are talking 70% of the time about how great their service is, about their credentials. They might even be bashing the competitor, which you don't ever, ever, ever want to do. You don't need to do that. And they're not really having the potential client talk that much whatsoever, except for maybe nodding their head yes, and you watch their eyes glaze over. I don't want their eyes to glaze over when they're meeting with you. We want to flip it to where they are talking 70% of the time, you're talking 30. You might wonder, how do you do that? Well, it's by asking great questions. You want to really have questions where you are finding out about them. And when this happens, it starts to, their meeting with you is going to be different than when they're meeting with everybody else who might be offering the same solution as you are. Everybody else is going to be pitching because that's what people think they ought to be doing in these consultations. And it might be what you've been doing also. But when you ask great questions, because you're doing something differently than what they expected, you are grabbing their attention. Right there, it is positioning you as an expert and a trusted advisor. Mm-hmm. And as a trusted advisor, what that means is they are seeing you as focused on really helping them discover what's in their best interest rather than your own best interest. Now, think about it. A lot of times that you've been in sales conversations, you might have been talking with people that were trying to pitch you something that you weren't maybe even interested in or don't feel that you need, but they had a gain from that. What you want to do here with these questions is focus on what's in their best interest. That sets you up as a trusted advisor. You're not attached to the outcome. There's 3 different types of questions you want to ask. And Steve, anybody has any questions about this as I go into it, let me know because we're going to start to get to work. Sure. You want to ask 3 different types of questions. You want to ask quantitative questions. Quantitative questions are how much? How much time have you been losing or wasting because this isn't working like it's supposed to? Mm-hmm. How much time can you gain or what can you focus your time on if we had this in place? How much money are you spending where you're not even happy with what you're doing? So how much is it costing you by not having the right solution in place? If we were able to fix it and get the right solution in place, how much could you be earning? How much more profit is there? And if you are in health and wellness and you're not doing a business-to-business service, the quantitative questions apply to you also. Because most of the people that you're working with most likely are either employed, they're most likely still working. If they're still working, you know, think about how much time off does it, how much time off does it take from work when this is going on? When they are dealing with this and they're not fully present and focused at work, how does that affect things? You can look at how much time is spent trying to find the right person to help you, or how much money have you invested trying to find that right person to help you or the solution, and not really getting satisfactory results.
By the way, Devin surfaced.
Oh, hey, Devin, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good, good. Do you mind having a little bit of a conversation with me real quickly or not?
Not at all. Go for it.
Okay. I was just talking earlier about the fact that you used to offer free consultations. You were doing a lot of the work during those free consultations. And what things were like before and what things are like now, because we've changed your process around.
Okay. Well, the most obvious thing is that I'm working less and getting paid more.
That always makes me happy.
So for example, there was one cleanup job that I had. Well, first of all, I used to do the initial consultation and initial diagnostic for free. And I changed that fee so that now I'm doing fewer initial consultations and initial diagnostics. And instead of spending more time getting not paid for those, I'm spending less time with higher quality potential clients. And I think in the last year, I've made about 3,000 on my initial consults.
Where you were giving them away for free.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, I do bookkeeping for attorneys. And it's really kind of financial consulting and CFO services for attorneys. And so then what I started doing was, previously I would just kind of wrap any cleanup work into my monthly bookkeeping fee. And that fee was super low. So a couple things happened simultaneously. Number one, we pretty much doubled the monthly bookkeeping fee. So those prices went up, and I've made at least a couple thousand a month on that. And then on top of that, I have made a lot of money charging for the diagnostic that just would have kind of been wrapped into the work before. And again, because not everyone wants to pay for the diagnostic the cleanup, and only the highest quality clients want to do that, I'm doing a lot less cleanup work and I'm making a lot more money for it. So as one example, there was one client where normally I would have just wrapped it into her $500 a month bookkeeping fee. But instead, for this client, I said, okay, well, for the cleanup, it's going to be $8,000. And then your bookkeeping fee past that, I think I jacked that up by a couple hundred a month also.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then what happened to those headache clients that you had?
They phased themselves out. And so overall, my client base is much higher quality right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just a real quick question around that. Because you're having a higher quality client, do you see anything else different with the type of work that you're doing for your current clients, because they're hiring you based upon your expertise as opposed to you being the cheapest person around?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. Number one, they respect what I tell them a lot more. So, for example, I had one of my less than ideal clients. She refused to use a credit card, and her bank account was constantly going negative. It didn't matter how many times I told her. She was also giving her employees advances that she couldn't afford. And I didn't make any headway. So she was one of the clients that phased herself out as my rates changed. And I have replaced her with clients who are listening to my advice and following it and taking it. And when they do that, then they're making several $1,000s more per month.
Mm-hmm. And how have you shifted how you feel about having these enrolling conversations from like where you were before to where you are now? How is it for you just going into them and how you approach them?
Well, let's see. I mean, before it was just a quick conversation. Okay, I'll take a look and here's my rates. And they would either sign up or not. And then we'd get into it and I would realize, oh crap, I had no idea what I was getting into here. And now I am able to, when I do the diagnostic, for one, I can see the potential problems that I'm going to have with clients and be able to deal with those proactively. Gosh, and I forget your question. I've been talking so long.
I just want to know how you feel about how you approach these consultations now.
Oh, I'm a little more confident. I'm definitely still working on refining my consultations, but I'm better at getting information that I need out of the client. And I'm also slowly getting better at subtly and sort of almost subconsciously communicating to the client that, look, you're not paying me to be your bookkeeping data entry monkey. You're paying me for my expertise in having run several profitable law firms.
Excellent. Devin, thank you so much for letting me just ask you these on the fly. I know you weren't expecting me to call you out.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Devin.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Lane says the bookkeeper's lament. Curious what time frame Devin was able to make these changes.
I have been working with Loren for 8 months, and it has all happened in that period.
Nice.
Thank you. Okay, let me go into the different types of questions which we're going to start to workshop. The quantitative ones, as I was saying, go into how much as far as time, or how much as far as money, income, profit, lost income. The qualifying questions go into the emotional part of why they want to move forward. This is, tell me about the frustrations that you're having. What happens when you don't have accurate information? How does that impact your business? What would be different if you knew what to focus on and what to eliminate? Those are some of the qualifying questions. The reason that you want to ask those types of questions is because when it comes to signing on with your service, people are actually making the decision first from an emotional point of view. Then they're going ahead and justifying with logic. This means that we're asking both types of questions. The first ones are the logical ones about how much money, how much time. The second ones get into the emotional part of really, what is the pain of not having this fixed, of continuing to tolerate this? And then the third one is qualitative, which recognizes that when something is off in your business, it overflows a lot of time in your personal life. When things are off in your personal life, they overflow into what you're doing professionally. It's an ebb and flow. It's not like they're in two separate compartments. The qualitative ones recognizes that when something is off in one part of your life, then it affects the quality of another part of your life. An example is when you're, and this applies to both either health and wellness or business to business, But you can ask, what other parts of your life are affected because this isn't working or this is happening to you? If you're in business to business, then a lot of times your business owners are sacrificing other activities, family time, personal time, health and wellness, to be able to take care of something that's not working effectively in their business, or if something isn't really working like optimized. If it's health and wellness, when someone is not feeling to their very best, then it affects their energy, it affects them maybe socially, it affects them spiritually, it could affect them from a work point of view. You want to acknowledge that you recognize that it's not just all in one silo, but that there's this ebb and flow. Any questions at this point, Steve?
Nothing that's come up so far.
Okay, great. This is where we are going to start to workshop it. We're going to ask I want you to come up with 3 quantitative questions which explore time. I can't see everything that I have. Time, money, and effort to fix the problem. The second one is 3 qualifying questions that explore the emotions related to continuing to tolerate this situation. And then we're going to have 1 qualitative question which recognizes that this affects other parts of their life. And what I want to do is, let's go ahead and I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And let's start to have you work on these questions. Also, if you have any questions as this is coming up for you, go ahead and ask them. Either you can mute yourself and we can talk, or you can put them in the chat and Steve will relay the questions for me. Mm-hmm. Anybody have any questions right now? So I'm going to say, let's start off with the first set of questions.
Susan wants to know, do you want us to put the questions in the chat?
No, you don't have to.
No.
But let's come up with 3 questions. And if you want to put them in the chat because you want feedback, I'm happy to do that. And I know that some of you might feel uncomfortable with the money part and asking questions around money. These questions are really important to ask because you want them to become aware of the cost of tolerating this problem that they have. How much potential income they are losing, or how much they might be able to gain once this is fixed. This is part of then, as they become aware of this, they recognize that the value of hiring you to do for your service is not that much when they're able to see how much they've either been losing all along or how much they could possibly make by working with you. And right now we're just working on the quantitative questions. Steve, is anybody putting their questions in the chat?
Not yet.
Okay. And are any questions coming up?
Would the recording be available to us?
Yes.
Yes. That was the only question so far.
Okay. And let's take like 45 seconds more for just this section. I would love to hear from a couple people what questions you, either if you have questions or what questions you've come up with. Anybody want to unmute themselves and share their questions?
Yes, Lauren, I have one here. It's Elizabeth.
Great, Elizabeth, go ahead.
So this is with a particular client in mind. She is a coach herself. And the question that came up for me as a qualitative question is, how much revenue have you lost in the past month because you were not able to sign up new clients for your coaching business?
Right, so you might want to say how much potential revenue, because she might not actually know, would she?
She gave me a value that she would like to make per month based on some calculations she had done. So that's why the word revenue came up for me. Yeah. But I could also put possible revenue. Yes, that sounds, yeah, good.
I wouldn't, well, I actually said potential, because if she already had conversations with those people, then these were people that maybe she could have enrolled, but she didn't because she was uncomfortable with it. And so that's money that actually potentially would have been in the bank account, but didn't end up there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so potential makes sense in this context.
Yes. Did you have any other questions about the quantitative part?
Not yet.
What is the problem that she's struggling with?
She wants to sign up clients who would pay for the value that she's offering, and new clients. She already has clients. She is a coach, and she was offered by some that she helped. I felt personally that there was some sort of a money and success blocker in her, and we've been working on that. But she wants to get more clients, new clients, and we're working on how she may go about that. But this is the issue. So there is a success blocker, and which she pointed out.
Great. Let me tell you one other question that's coming up that you might want to ask. Does she know that she has this block?
Yes, because we're working on it.
Perfect. Okay. Then a question for her, or for you to be asking of her also, is how much more would you be charging if you didn't have this block?
How much more?
Or how would your fees change?
How much? Okay.
Because part of what I'm hearing is that she probably is charging less than what she can be getting because she has either money block or her self-esteem is getting in the way.
Those two and a few other things, which we've brought up also, and she's become aware of, but she's giving a lot of stuff away for free. Yes, that's true.
Okay, so then a question you can ask is, how much do you give away for free because you don't know how to charge for it?
Yes, that would make sense to her.
Okay.
It's a more simple approach. Yeah.
Yes. Does that help?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. One last thing for her is, if she has low rates and she wants to earn more, she has to then work more. And what other things will she have? What sacrifices has she already made, or things she's given up in order to earn more money?
Okay. What sacrifices? Could that be worded in any other way? I'm just thinking the word sacrifice. What losses?
Yeah. What else have you given up?
Okay. What else?
Or what activities have you stopped doing?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, Elizabeth?
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. That sounds great. Thank you, Loren.
You bet. Anybody else want to run their questions by me or share them with the group?
I will. This is Lane.
Yeah, go ahead,
Elaine.
Lane. Hi.
Hi. So I have you ever considered the potential tax savings you could gain from having someone look at your books?
I'm thinking about that. I feel that it can be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't know, coming from the layman's point of view, they probably don't have any clue about the tax savings. Is there a different way? And there's other people here that are also in the bookkeeping profession. Maybe somebody else might have a better way of sharing it. But I think that, you know what, are you finding out how much they're paying in taxes already?
No. It's just that I personally have several, experiences of helping people save a lot of money on their taxes by restructuring what they're doing. So
I almost think that that's more of a statement then about how much more in taxes do most people, coming from your clients, on average, do most people pay than what they need to pay?
Oh, well, I would say 20% to 40% if they're not doing things right. Yeah.
Then I'm almost thinking that that's more of a positioning statement where maybe you're saying, most of my clients, once I start looking at their taxes or their books, can actually save 20 to 40% in tax savings. How much are you paying a year in taxes?
Right.
and then you're going to get that number. You can then do the 20 to 40% of, okay, there's a possibility that I might be able to save you this amount of dollars.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So it's positioning first, and then you want to know how much they pay each year in taxes.
Yeah.
And then you want to ask them, if you had that much in tax savings, what would you do with the money? Because that takes it like to a whole new level now.
Yeah, that's great.
Because when you do that with them, then you might be tapping into a stronger desire that they have, not just I need my books done. And now what's happening is that they're starting to see how you can help them achieve something that they desire. It's not just about the compliance part. Now, Lane, what we're doing is we're putting you in this advisory position, and part of what you do is bookkeeping and tax savings.
Right.
How does that feel for you?
Great.
Perfect. Thank you for asking. One more person want to put their questions out there, workshop it?
This is Leah. I'd like to share.
Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Hello. So I'm a complete newbie, so this is a lot of stuff to take in, but I will share what I wrote, inspired by the two other people who shared.
Sure.
Doing that. So I wrote down, how much time and effort have you spent doing what you don't want to do instead of living the life you truly desire?
I like that.
One's juicy.
Yeah.
You know what? The life okay, this is what's coming up for me. The life you truly desire is like such a Walt Disney World thing. And I think that I would want to be more specific about knowing what they desire and then connecting that to that outcome or their desire that they want to achieve.
Okay, can you give me an example of that?
Well, when someone's going to be speaking with you, do you have a way of knowing what it is that they truly desire?
Yes, through communication and conversations, definitely.
Okay, then you want to, instead of saying truly desire, which is like a abstract thing,
Okay.
give me an idea of one person that comes to your mind. What does that one person want to desire? What does that one person desire?
They desire to live their purpose and
What does that mean?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
these are all great life coaching words, but what if I'm not a, what if I'm coming to you and I'm not a life coach? I've just been working all this time and I feel that my, it's kind of a vanilla and I'm burned out and going up the corporate ladder isn't quite what I thought. So I'm thinking about something that's more meaningful for me. Is that about what your client deals with? Or maybe there's something else. I'm just saying that I would love to hear, instead of what you truly desire, it being more specific of, let's connect that question to that specific outcome.
Okay, yeah, let me think for a second. How much time?
And Leah is a spiritual mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
If
so,
you're, go ahead.
so connecting it to, okay, so going deeper what they truly desire. Okay, so it would be, I don't know, I'm a little stuck. I could use help.
Okay. What do they achieve when they work with you? Like, what's the outcome?
The outcome would be more happiness. It would be it's a lot. It has to do with ourselves, so working on ourselves personally. So yeah, being happy, doing more of what brings us passion, what brings us joy, creating a life that I guess that, yeah, I'm getting.
Okay. No, I hear you. What I would say is, what was the first part of your question again that you were telling me? How much time
and effort have you spent doing what you don't want to do?
Oh, so let me put it out there, what's coming up for me. How much time and effort have you spent pursuing somebody else's dream instead of saying that's meaningful to you?
Yeah.
For how many years have you put your own needs aside for other people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or what if you actually even knew what you wanted and felt comfortable asking for it? You put your own priorities back on at the top of the list again. Maybe they fell off the list.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, it's sometimes when I'm so spiritual, it's sometimes hard to get into the practical questions. And yeah, this is what I'm trying to do, is really get into this practical mindset. So that really helps.
Well, the other thing, my sense is that they come to you because they feel very disconnected. Does that feel true?
Disconnected, stuck as well. I think stuck is a big one.
Okay, then those are some of the things that are important. Is what if you found out where you matter, or that you no longer felt stuck. And not only did we go from a grind, you went to engaged, from disengaged to engaged.
And loving yourself as well.
Yeah. You weren't just, going day to day, checked out most of the day any longer, numbing yourself. And that's, so if any of you people have like even bad habits or addictive qualities, which affect spirituality. I mean, think about how much time and energy and money is spent because of those things that are really not serving them to the highest good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that gets like right to the core of it.
Yep. Lauren, check the chat.
Oh gosh. Can you help me out here? I will do that.
Yeah, it's a message from me to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next set of questions. But Leah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yep,
Yeah,
Steve, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
let's go on to the next set of qualifying questions, which have to do with the emotional part of it. How frustrating is this? How is this impacting your life, your business, whether you're health and wellness or in business to business service? So if you're business to business, how is this impacting your business? If you're in health and wellness, how is this impacting your life? How would it be for you if you knew what to focus on and what to eliminate? And let's go ahead and take 3 minutes to work those. And if you have any questions, let me know during that time.
That last comment was for everybody, by the way. Not you.
I need some thinking music, Steve.
Yeah, yeah. I can put some on, but I don't think you'd like my music.
I think that last comment that you put with qualifying questions are the emotional ones. You actually just sent it to me privately.
I said that already.
Oh.
I said the last comment was for everybody, not you.
Oh. But it didn't go to everybody. Yeah.
I'm just reposting it now.
That's okay.
Yep. There you go.
Yep, much better.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 45 seconds left.
Hi, Lauren, it's Elizabeth again.
Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth.
So this is again based on the same client.
Okay.
The question that came up for me here as a qualifying question is, how is not being able to sign up your ideal client or clients affecting your confidence as a professional coach?
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You might even just put confidence and leave it at that.
Okay. Well, this question came up based on a conversation that I had with her, because confidence was, although she didn't put it, she didn't use the word confidence, but that's what came out of the conversation. And she was almost at a point of feeling distressed about not being able to do this. She was doing it, but not in the way that she was feeling fulfilled out of the whole experience and who she was able to get. So
Yeah, I would also put in the qualifying questions, ask her what her fear is. And how is that how is that holding you back?
so how would you word that?
What are you afraid of, and how is that holding you back?
What are you afraid of? That's a very strong question. Yeah, and I like it. What are you afraid of? Thank you, Loren.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share their questions? Is everybody good?
I don't see anything else.
Okay.
So
Okay. Does anybody need any more time? And if so, just let me know in the chat.
nothing coming in so far.
Okay. I'm going to go on to the last.
Hello, Loren?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm wondering if you hear me. I'm feeling a little out of the loop because my sales is twofold. My sales would be to an agency for large contracts for wreaths. So it's very probably quantitative and how much and, you know, quality for affordable prices and that kind of a thing. And then the second fold is my dream and vision is to instruct small groups of special populations to actually make these wreaths and have their own business. So I think the first thing is to, and which I've been focusing on, is just selling wreaths. But down the line, I would be more, I would do more consulting. But how do you, I mean, for those quantitative questions that are more applicable for just plain sales, plain and simple, for products, it's not so much an advisory position. It's more of a just get in there and get it done. More of a hunter, you know. So,
okay, then.
And also I've been frustrated because I can't get my clients. I don't know how to get clients because in Mary Kay, which I did for years, it was all relationship oriented. You know, I was making cash the first week I signed up, you know, but here online, it's a totally different, different venue.
You're bringing up a couple of different things, and not everything applies to what we're doing today. So the networking part is different.
Right.
And that part is not related to what we're doing right now today. With the questions, you tell me about two different types of clients. One would be the vendors who you are possibly looking to make a large sale to, and then the other ones are possibly people that you are looking to mentor. Two different clients, two different questions you would be asking them. These might be more appropriate for when you're looking to do the mentoring part of it, but they can also apply to the vendor situation, because my guess is that what happens when they get a low quality product, then they're getting client returns or dissatisfaction.
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Therefore, they want to avoid the customer service element. And what happens when they deliver a great product that their clients rave about.
Thank you.
And my guess is that with the qualifying questions, I would look at, you know, what is the frustration when they deliver product and it's really not up to their standards, or it doesn't last.
Okay, I know I've done larger orders with nursing skilled facilities with directors, you know, that need home warming gifts and wreaths for the new clients coming in, and that's been effective.
Okay. And then just look at the fact that what is the benefit when someone gets one of these gifts and then they're taking a picture on social media or so on and so forth, they're sharing it with others.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good ideas.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's go into the qualitative question, which is pretty simple, just really looking into in what other ways does this impact your life? Does anybody have any questions so far with what we've done so far with the questions? That sounded a bit redundant. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Thank you, Elizabeth. She said, enjoying learning from this exercise. And then,
yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So basically what this is looking at the fact that you're doing some type of assessment with them, which is this initial consultation. Because of you asking great questions, getting really specific answers as to what's going on with them, then you're able to really make an accurate diagnosis of what that next, of what's going on. Maybe you can see something that is the core issue that they might not be able to see. Sometimes when they come to you, your clients might say, I need this, but they really don't know what they really need. They just know that they're dealing with this problem and they think that they need this thing. But from having this conversation with them, you might realize there's actually a more appropriate solution or path forward with them. Because you're setting this up more like assessment and diagnostic, then you can, with confidence, recommend next steps, which are aligned to what they told you during the initial assessment, as opposed to just putting one thing out there. And maybe it works for them and maybe it doesn't really get them the results that they want. But I see this more of when you ask great questions, you get insights, you can then make a correct diagnosis, tell them the next steps forward with the plan. This is more similar to when you have back pain and you're going to a doctor. If the doctor walks into the exam room where you're at, and the very first thing is, okay, let's go ahead and schedule surgery, you would then be trying to get your clothes on and get out of that office as quickly as possible, because that's malpractice. They haven't done any lab work. They haven't done any assessments, exams. That person's just going right to surgery without any information. This is what most business owners do when they're doing an initial meeting or sales pitch, is they're going right into scheduling surgery without really doing the exam, asking questions, diagnosing what's really going on. That's part of what sets you up as more of an advisor or an expert, and it lets you get away from the pitch. And I know that Susan had to hop off. Maybe Susan is here. I don't know. If you're here, Susan, please let me know. But with Susan, when we started working together, similar to Devin, she was doing a lot of this consultative work for free. In fact, I would know that she would have a scheduled conversation with someone for a consult, and then she would just give them all the information they needed. They would say thank you and move on. When we started putting this in place where she was asking questions. Okay, Susan said she needs to phone in to speak. If you could do that, would love to hear from you instead of me talking about it. But anyway, once we started doing this, she was asking very specific questions. She was getting more accurate information. she was also starting to find out that there were some people she didn't want to work with any longer, or she just didn't want to sign them on because she just had some inkling that they weren't going to be a good fit for her. It meant that she started to now put some boundaries between who she was working with. She got to cherry pick her clients now. And that makes a huge difference in your business when you finally get to the point where you can cherry pick your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And if she gets to phone in, great, we'll talk. And if not, I'm good also. So moving on, as I said before, this is part of the Conversations That Sell program. It's something that I'm going to be starting at the end of this month on June 29th. And then I'm going to go into the next section right after this. But I just wanted to let you know where this is, all this information is coming from. And I will go ahead and let me see if I can put the link in there. Nope. Basically, Steve, are you able to type that in there or not?
Type what?
I think I have it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it.
It's on the.
Loren, I'm unmuted if you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. Thank you so
Hi,
much
Susan.
for joining
Hi,
us.
Steve. Sorry, my iPad, computer, I don't know when I can talk, when I can see, when I can't.
That's okay. I appreciate you coming here. Let me just go back a little bit to your beautiful picture. And and Susan, what was the consultation process like in the beginning, and what are some of the changes you've seen?
Well, in the beginning, I sort of, I think it was more from a leadership aspect. I let them dictate to me what they wanted me to do. And I asked all the right questions. I knew what to ask them. And this is, regarding bookkeeping, obviously. But I think I deferred to them too much on what they wanted. And so I came from a place of sort of fear that I wouldn't get the job. So I was a little bit too submissive. And then invariably I would end up under billing and getting myself into a situation where there was more work than I thought, or even if it was the same amount of work, I way underbilled. And I think I just wasn't respected as much as I was when I started really being the leader more than the follower.
Did you also find that there were people you agreed to work with even though you didn't really enjoy working with them?
Well, that absolutely. I had a lot of those people. And even though my gut instinct always told me as soon as I met these people that it would turn out badly, and it always did, I felt that I needed the work and I had to work with anyone I could take. And then once I instilled these skills of bidding properly and getting enough money, then I was able to say goodbye to the people who were, quite frankly, not treating me well. I mean, it could get ugly.
And so I always get so excited when I hear about someone letting go of a non-ideal client, a PETA client, pain in the butt. So very happy for you with doing that. And then what have you seen that you've noticed because now you have more boundaries and a process in place?
Well, I think it starts with, like you promote, just charge the right prices to the right people. They're out there. The ones who try to undercut you, just walk away from them. The good people who know your value. So know your value, perform at your value, and then if you have the income, you're able to walk away from the ones who aren't paying you enough and are the biggest, PETAs, and then you're even able to work a little bit fewer hours and have more free time and less stress. So it's all just, it's like the circle of life. It really is. Just, I've gone full circle from overworked and underpaid to being able to choose my clients and making enough income and having some free time.
It's been a beautiful thing, and you're so much less stressed.
Oh, yeah. Even, Devin, I get comments from people all the time. It's been a complete flip-flop for me. It's just enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that one other thing that you are mentioning there, even though we're not saying it outright and want to, is that when you really connected with the value that you bring to the table and started to put this in place, your self-esteem, confidence rose up in other areas of your life as well.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And as women, I think a lot of times we tend to undermine ourselves and underestimate ourselves, and we got to stop.
Yeah, Susan, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you too. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, Susan.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.
Anyway, as I was saying, this is part of the Conversations That Sell program where you can attract premium clients. They pay your fees. They're happy to work with you, and you are able to enroll them without feeling pushy, inauthentic, or salesy. I put the link in the chat, the businesssuccesssolution.com/conversations. If you scroll down in the middle of the page, you will see where it says how that works. And once again, these are the 5 modules about positioning your service, powerful questions, which we're touching on today. There's more to it, trust me. Proposing the solutions in order to enroll them, starting to talk about what it would be like to work together, being able to start, which means that they are not a client until money has been exchanged. If they haven't paid you, they're not a client yet. They still have the opportunity to back out, change their mind, get distracted and go in a different direction. And then they have lost the opportunity to actually take care of this thing that they've been tolerating, which you're able to do because because there was discomfort on your part talking about the money part or collecting the fees. And then also looking at, once they've made this investment, there are things that come up in their heads where they are second guessing, they're questioning, they're wondering if they made the right decision. And there's a couple of things that you can do to be able to put everything at ease in order to be able to really get them excited and engaged. Well, because I know of the value of this, being able to enroll clients with ease and grace in a way that's not salesy by having a value conversation, I have a happiness satisfaction guarantee out of the 5-course module. And this is where I am getting on the phone in a group call like today, and we are working this through together. There's going to be worksheets, there's templates, there's videos for you to do some self-study, and then there's these group coaching calls where I am there because I want you to be able to implement this and get to see the results, because it makes a difference in your life as well as your bank account. It changes everything. And because of that, I have a money back guarantee. If after the first 2 coaching calls and group calls, after the first 2 modules, you don't feel this is a fit, let me know and we will refund your money, no questions asked. I don't want someone in the program that's not satisfied and doesn't feel like it's a good fit for them. The other thing is for the first 10 people that enroll, and this will start being launched as of tomorrow, I am offering a 30-minute private session with me. Trust me, I cover a lot in 30 minutes. During the 30 minutes, we can workshop your questions. I can ask anything that's coming up with the mindset part, the strategy, or the tactical part, or we can take a conversation that you've had using this that you recorded, and I can go review it with you and tell you where to make some tweaks to be able to be even more effective. That's what I did earlier today in my group coaching call with my clients, is that we role played the questions. And then after we role played them, we discussed how can you be more effective if you just tweak it a little bit here, or put in this word, or change this, you're going to get so much better results. And that is the bottom line, is that when people sign on to work with you, I know that you are changing their life either professionally or personally in a meaningful way. And I want to give you the tools to be able to enroll those clients so that you can make a difference for them. And being able to show up, talking with clients who value what you have to offer, they're not price sensitive, they're willing to happily pay your fees, changes everything about the work that you do, about how you serve. It impacts your life, your business, as well as the life and business of your clients. So if that interests you and you're one of the first 10 to sign up, I will include the private consult with me as well. And that has a $500 value to be able to really dial it in, give you what you need, and talk with clients who value what you have to offer. And because of the way that this is set up, they ask you just, how does it work? There's no selling or pitching involved. I'm going to go ahead and move on. If anybody has any questions, please let Steve know. We're going to go into 5 steps to handle objections. And I have a poll for this one.
Second poll.
Second poll, I have to figure out where it is.
Okay.
There we go, launch poll. And how confidently do you handle objections? You don't like conflict? It's part of the job. You handle them like a boss.
We're going back and forth, but
the votes are coming in.
yeah, nobody handles it like a boss.
Not yet.
It's part of the job is 55%. I don't like conflict is 45%.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and share the results. It's almost pretty much split. Some of you don't like conflict. Most of us don't like conflict. And for others, it's just part of the job. Nobody here handles them like a boss. We are going to go ahead and see if we can raise the level of how you approach these objections, because this is where money gets left on the table. As soon as you've developed the relationship, you've asked the questions, you're just really totally giving and serving to your clients by going into this conversation. Now it's time to talk about those next steps. They've asked you, how does it work? You're going to explain it. A lot of times there are objections. The mistake that happens is the objections throw you off, you get frustrated. They feel like conflict or pushback. You close the conversation and end it right there. This means that you got them so in touch of tolerating the problem that there is a solution. They're ready to take that next step. And it's like you shut the door on that next step of you helping them. So now they're going to move on and they're going to find somebody else that is able to take that next step with them. I don't want that. It's like you've done all the work and somebody else enjoys the benefits. We need to shift the response to objections in order for you to handle them confidently. The first thing is, think about what are the common objections that come up. And Steve, I would love for people to put in the chat, what are some of the common objections that you're getting when you're having enrolling consultations with somebody?
I'm putting it in right now.
Yeah. And people can just start to share what some of those objections are that they tend to get. Or maybe, as we heard in the beginning, they're creating their own objections. They're not even waiting for somebody else to ask them. They're just putting them out there themselves. Any responses, Steve?
Not yet. Just posted it.
Okay.
It's Susan, that's really expensive. I talked to another CPA who will do it for X dollars. Leah, a potential client says don't have enough money.
Okay, the top 3 objections that come up is absolutely the money one. The other one is time. And the third one is I have to talk to somebody else, their partner, whether it's a life partner or a business partner. They need to meditate, sleep on it, check in with their guides. They never make a decision at the moment. Those are some of the things. There might be some that are specific to your industry. Are there any other ones coming up, Steve, in the chat?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Anyway, what I would say is instead of having an objection come up and you're responding to it as if it's for the first time all over again, what you first want to do is write out the top 5 objections that you're getting. Start to list them. Then you might want to start to come up with what it is that you would like your response to be when those things happen. When there's an objection, it's actually, and this is a reframe, don't take it as a no unless they just say to you, no, I'm not interested. If they're saying, no, I'm not interested, once again, end the conversation, bless them, and send them on their way. They're doing you as well as them a favor of being upfront and honest that this isn't anything that they're interested in. But if they're not saying, no, I'm not interested, then what you want to do is when there's an objection is you want to get curious. This is the most important part of the conversation. It is the critical part because underneath the objection, it means that they either don't fully see the value or they have more questions. That's pretty much it. They either don't see the value or they have more questions. Therefore, I want you to know how to respond because you are a trusted advisor. You're the expert. I want you to be able to know how to confidently respond when these come up. Oopsie. Okay, so the very first thing is you want to acknowledge their concern. It's possible to acknowledge what they're saying without agreeing or disagreeing. It's simply acknowledgement. I understand that that's coming up for you. Then you want to ask another question to understand what is underlying that, where they have another question or where they might have a concern, where they might not see the value. But you want to ask another question. And it could be, just tell me more. It could be as simple as that. After you've done that, you want to assess whether the objection is because of the money or because of maybe what you're talking about they don't have clarity or it's not fully aligned. It's a simple question of if this didn't have to do with the money part, would you still be interested? That's all you need to do is find out if this has nothing to do with the money, would you still be interested? And then what you want to do is assume that they're going to move forward and sign up. Let me explain the psychology about that. I'm going to use a sports psychology because before this, I used to do sports psychology, and it is the easiest explanation. If you watch any type of sports, I'm going to take basketball for right now. If you watch basketball and you watch them in the teams in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left on the clock. One team is ahead, one team is behind. At that point, if the team that's behind, if they feel that they have a chance, they are going all out they're playing harder and more aggressively than they did the entire, the game, you know, up until now. They're just going all out because either they can get ahead and win or they have nothing to lose. At that point, they're not attached to the outcome, but they feel like they're going to go all out because it could make a difference. They could come out ahead, there's a chance of winning. But if that losing team sees such a gap that they don't feel they have a chance, then during that last 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, they gave up before the timer ran out. All of a sudden, they're making mistakes, they're playing sloppy, they're not invested in doing their best no matter what. They've given up before it was game over and the buzzer went off. Think about that for you, because this came up in the conversations before we started the workshop today, is if you go in with a defeatist attitude of, they're never going to buy from me, they can't afford it, I'm more expensive than most, I wouldn't invest that much in my own services, why would I expect somebody else to? You're going to approach this part of the conversation, in fact, the entire conversation, very differently than, this is a client that I know I can solve their problem. I know it's going to make a difference for them. They're going to have the transformation that they desire and they deserve. Yeah. You are being a champion for them and holding them to that higher level of potential and possibility and showing them what's possible in order for them to step into it. And when you do that, you come from a very different place. Once again, of being a trusted advisor, because you're focusing on what's in their best interest, not yours, which is the transformation, whether that's business to business or health and wellness. Somehow they are investing in a transformation where they no longer have to tolerate, they no longer have to compromise, they don't have to have this drain of time, energy, money, or effort any longer. And when you take that stand for them, then you're going to show up with this part of the conversation very, very differently than if you have that defeatist losing team attitude, where you already said they're not going to enroll. I knew that. Why put any more effort into it? And you close the conversation. And then the last thing is affirm. Because you held that space for them to step into that transformation of what's possible, to get into the fact that they're no longer having to tolerate or think about it, they now are taking action and they signed on to work with you. You want to affirm. You want to affirm that they made a good decision and that this is going to really be a game changer for them. But affirm their decision, put their mind at ease that they made a good choice. And be able to say, you made a great decision. We're going to be able to move forward. I'm so happy for what we're going to be doing together. And just put their mind at ease. So those are the 5 steps to confidently respond to objections, is acknowledge their concern. If they have a concern, ask a question, tell me more. Assess whether they're really interested or whether it's truly a money issue. Assume that they are going to move forward because you're going to show up and take a stand for them differently, champion for them. And then once they make the decision to move forward with you, affirm their decision that they made a great choice to put their minds at ease. Any questions around this coming up, Steve?
Not yet. You're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you. With that, just want to talk about Ingrid real quickly. When we first met, she was working with anybody, everybody. Her business was all over the place. And she felt that she needed to be competitively priced because it was unfair to charge for value. We talked about it over time. She eventually recognized what her value was able to make the change into really working at a higher level with her clients, being able to raise the level of bookkeeping profession also. So she wanted to be a spokesperson. And by being able to first connect with her value and then shifting how people started to enroll with her, they have to go through a process where she's qualifying them. She also gets them into a quick 15-minute consult. She does a diagnostic then that they pay for before she goes ahead and lets them know the next steps. She was able to, once again, double her business. She cut away 30% of her clients. She started to become a spokesperson for raising the level of integrity for the bookkeeping profession. 2 years ago, I think she was nominated as one of the top 40 under 40 in the accounting profession, even though she's not an accountant, she's a bookkeeper. And she was also the third finalist for Firm of the Future, I believe, in 2018 as well. So she changed how she approached everything that she did in her business because she first got in touch with her value. And that allowed her to then go ahead and have value conversations where she doesn't sell, she enrolls. In fact, she calls it unselling. And then from there, she went into value pricing and working with clients at a higher level. And she was someone who fought this tooth and nail because she didn't want to be unfair. And she recognized that it was doing a disservice for her clients as well as for her. And it makes a difference. You can do this in your business. It raises the bar. You're no longer competitively pricing or competing with others who offer a similar service because now you're coming from a place of value. And it makes a change in every part of your business and your life. So what we covered was, and once again, the Conversations at Sell course is, if that interests you, go to the link, businesssuccesssolution.com/conversations, where we're going to go ahead and do the entire, we're going to unwrap the whole thing, where we go from pre-qualifying clients. So you're really speaking with clients who are not price sensitive. You are then knowing how to have a value conversation. You're feeling comfortable making the offer into the next steps. You confidently handle objections like a boss, but in a very genuine and authentic way. And you're comfortable talking about the money part because they're not a client until there's been an exchange of money. Once again, I have the happiness satisfaction guarantee. I am doing a bonus for the first 10 people that enroll into the program, where I will review your questions with you, or I will listen to a consultation that you actually had and recorded and help you fine tune it to be even more effective with your enrolling conversations. What we covered today is why free sessions don't work, how to really have a value conversation and focusing on the questions where clients then naturally ask you, how does this work? And how to confidently handle objections. Steve, I think that I have wrapped everything up.
Okay. Yeah, I think you did a great job. I'm really looking forward to it.
Happy to have you all here. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. If you know that this course is going to make a difference, where you're going to be more effective, so you don't have to have as many enrolling conversations to sign on those ideal clients. You'll be able to actually change your fee structure because you're having value conversations. You're not competing on price any longer, since you're setting yourself up as an advisor.
Got an excellent workshop. Thank you, Loren.
Thank you. Thank you. You're going to be working with better clients. It's going to make a difference in your bank account and also for your clients. So if you know that that's what you want, please go ahead and sign up for the Conversations at Sell course. If you have additional questions that are coming up, feel free to reach out and let me know. My email. You've gotten an email from me today, so you can just respond to that email and we can set up a quick conversation if you have some other questions coming up. But would love to be able to have you make this happen sooner instead of later, because you can overthink this a lot and postpone doing this because you're afraid of making a mistake. You're not sure how to deal with the pushback. Let's finally get this done so that you can achieve what it is that you want for your business and have a business that really supports your lifestyle instead of one that sucks the life out of you. Anyway, thank you so much. I will have the recording available probably by tomorrow. I'll email you when that is up, and look forward to working with you more closely, to talking with you with what's coming up for you and being able to help you up level and serve at a higher level. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.